of his father-in-law, and so they had special items on the table. Then the cup should be about the minimum of 3.5 ounces. The wine should be our first choice is red wine, corresponding to the red, the blood. The white wine is a better quality. You can use white wine as well. This roa is the what is used for this roa, the arm, that response to the carbon paste of the Passover sacrifice. What is used at your seders? What are you accustomed to? What is on the right side we have on top, we have this roa, the arm, responding to the carbon Pesach. What is used? Your seders that you're accustomed to?
Chicken bone.
Chicken bone, okay. So we don't use beef because beef is actually the carbon Pesach. No one should mistake it. What this is the Passover sacrifice. So we make as much as possible a difference between the two. And therefore, in Chabad, they use the neck of the chicken. They take off most of the meat off the neck. So that has a minimal amount of meat to go as far away as possible from the Passover sacrifice. The bone is roasted, and you could save it for the next night as well. So if you have the roa that is going to be used for the Seder, the first Seder, when you're putting away the items at night, you could put it away in the fridge for the next day as well. What happens if someone did not roast it on Erev Pesach, which is Wednesday? What do? So you roast it on Yom Tov. Over an open flame, you roast it. Now, however, that could whatever you have whatever you roast on the first day has to be eaten during that time. So we don't eat it at night because we just want to stay away as much as possible from the Passover sacrifice. But one has to make a point of eating some of it the next day. So with the fact that you roasted it, it is for a purpose of being used that day for eating. So that is why it's advisable to roast it on Erev Pesach, so you don't forget about the eating of it. Then, if there's anything left over, you could use it for the second night, or else you would have to, again, roast it the second night as well. The preparation of the salt water could be done at night, preferably since we want to start the Seder as soon as possible. All of these preparations should be done on Erev Pesach on Wednesday this year. The next page 66. Number 6, we do not grate the roast radish on Shabbos, on the weekday. So it is not advised to use a grater. If one does want to use it, you use it in an unusual manner by grating it onto a cloth, not directly into a dish, or by holding the grater upside down. Dr. Rebbe says that one should not grate horseradish, even with a difference, even on the weekdays. All of this should be done on Erev Pesach. If however one did not wants to use the horseradish on Pesach itself, you didn't prepare it before, you didn't grind it, so you could cut it up in pieces. If it's a very bitter one, it's going to be very difficult to eat. Okay, sometimes when it's very strong, it does bring tears to your eyes when you eat it, which is really a embitterment of the lives. So why do we use the romaine lettuce? It's supposed to be bitter. Anyone? You learned in another class? Why do we use the romaine lettuce? So it started off sweet. The top of the leaf is sweet. The root is bitter. That is how the enslavement began. Does anyone know how the enslavement began? How were the Jews all of a sudden enslaved?
They weren't initially slaves, they came down free and they had positions of power, and then over time, slowly, they became enslaved.
So the actual enslavement was when Pharaoh asked for volunteers who were loyal to their country to come and fortify the cities. This was volunteers. And Pharaoh said that he's also going to join in this venture of building the cities. Amram, who was Moshe Rabbeinu's father, who was the leader of Shevet Levi, said that it does not sound kosher if Pharaoh himself is going to be doing the work. Something is wrong here. Do not volunteer. Do not go. The only ones who listened to him were Shevet Levi. They did not go, they did not volunteer. The others felt that they're very patriotic. Everyone is going to say that they are there and not really helping the country and not interested in the country, so they volunteered. And Pharaoh went, and the Egyptians went, and they were working side by side. And then they took a tally of how much each person produced, how much bricks each one produced. And each one was trying to outdo the other, so they're really working on maximum. And the tally was kept of how much each one produced. Then the Egyptians became the supervisors. Jews were the workers. And then at that point, they became enslaved. And the amount that they produced when they were working maximum was their quota that they had to do each day. What happened with Shevet Levi? Shevet Levi not go to work, were never enslaved throughout the 210 years. What they were doing is they were free to sit in Beis HaMedrash and learn. They were in Kollel. And what Pharaoh said was that every nation, every people have to have their spiritual leaders. And therefore, he chose Shevet Levi to be the spiritual leader. That was his reasoning. But the real reasoning was because since they never volunteered, they never put themselves under the power of the Egyptians, so they were not enslaved. And that is why Moshe and Aaron were able to go, and Pharaoh tells them, go to your home and do whatever has to be done at home. He was able to go in front, back and forth, because he was from Shevet Levi, and that whole tribe was exempt. So this is something that the Baal Shem Tov says, that no one has power over a Jew unless they themselves put themselves into that position. So we find out throughout history, the Hanukkah event, how did that take place? The Greeks did not interfere with anything of the Jewish religion. It was only when the Jews themselves wanted to become Hellenists, and the Minute Jews did not want to go along that, so they asked Antiochus to send his troops to help the ones who want to take over power, who were Hellenists, Jason, and what they sent in the troops, he took over. Same thing was also with Rome. Eretz Yisrael was independent. After Hanukkah, Eretz Yisrael was an independent country, not under anyone's rule, not paying tribute to anyone. Then there were two brothers who were having a dispute who was going to be the king. And they asked Rome to decide. So Rome said, our decision is we're sending in our own person, and he is going to be the one who is now in charge. That's how Jewish people came under the Roman. So this is through history how.
It's really interesting, but one question, did I understand you were saying Moshe and Aaron were able to go back and forth?
Whenever they were front probably.
But I mean, I understand because Moshe wasn't.
When they speak about when they were already coming to Paro, they're already speaking to him.
Oh, got it.
And Paro dismisses them. He doesn't say go to the mines.
I see.
He says
Okay.
go home.
Right.
So it started off sweet and it ended bitter. So this we have the chazeres, the romaine lettuce, the sweet on top, and the bottom is the bitter. Then we add the horseradish, we add that mixture. Number 7. That doesn't apply to now, it's only if it's on Shabbos, then it should be taken care to soak the charoses, the mixture of apple nuts with wine before Shabbos. If you can do it in the usual way, pouring the wine to the vessel, adding the charoses in. But again, if it's on Yontif, you could make the charoses, again, chopping it up. Now, the charoses, the mixture of the apples and the nuts. So Min Chabad is that since its purpose is to look like cement, so we just leave it in its cement form. It's only when we're going to be dipping the maror into the charoses that the wine is added, which is blood. So while it's on the Seder plate, we see cement, and it's going to be dipped. Then we have it with wine, the red wine, which is going to be a symbol of blood. This was also something that was a horrible, horrible experience. And that was that at the later time, you had to fill the quota when they were not given the material, the straw. They had to find the straw themselves. And that make the brick. Each one had to do his quota. And what happens if he didn't meet the quota? What happened then? Anyone? You didn't meet the quota, what happened? Anyone? Well, something terrible. And that was they took the children and filled the space. The person's children filled that space. And then there was also the blood that was, Pharaoh had a disease, and they said that he has to bathe in blood. And they used Jewish children as Yusuf. So when we're speaking about blood on the Seder plate, it's a very, very honorable reminder of how that enslavement was. So according to Chabad, so the charoses on the table is left as a cement, and then before the dipping, a little wine is added for the blood. In other circles, they prepare everything beforehand. They make the charoses, the nuts and apples together with the wine to begin with. How about they had added one at the ready Seder? An egg, use the romaine lettuce. We spoke about checking them. In Chabad, they don't use a kittel. There are those in other circles that wear the long white garment. They usually worn in Yom Kippur, conducting the Seder. Going down 68. The egg is the hard-boiled egg. What is that remembrance of? Anyone? What's the hard-boiled egg remembrance of? There were 2 sacrifices. One was the Pesach sacrifice, which is the roa, the arm, the bone. Then we have the second sacrifice, which is called a chagiga. Chagiga means the holiday. So you had a Seder, and the obligation to eat of the Korban Pesach was a kazayas, an ounce. So therefore, you could have, everyone had to be committing themselves to join in this Seder, to join in the Korban Pesach before it was slaughtered. Everyone, only people who were counted to be a part of that Seder were able to eat of it. So how much of it was required to eat? 1 kazayas, 1 ounce. And that was eaten at the end of the meal. So with the 1 ounce, you really don't have a meal. So together with that was brought a chagiga. Chagiga means a holiday sacrifice. And that was the actual meal. So that you could bring any animal that was brought to the base on Mikdash as a part of the meal, and they would eat. That you could bring as many as you need, or how big the Seder is. And then that's everyone get a proper portion. And at the end of the meal, the very conclusion, that is when the Korban Pesach was served. Okay? So we have Kaveri, so today, so we have on the Seder plate, we'll have the Maror, we'll have it twice, once in the center, because that was going to be used for the Maror. We make a Borei Kriya Adama. We make a Borei Halachilas Maror, the eating of the Maror. We also have a mind that's going to be for the Maror that's in the Charotas. It's in the sandwich. That's in the that's for the sandwich. That's the Seder plate, that's the preparation. Kiddush, for those who made the Shechiyanu by the lighting of the candles, will not make another Shechiyanu by the Kiddush. The Shechiyanu, thank you, Shechiyanu, the is only said once. That's for the women, they say it by the lighting of the candle, then they say it for the Kiddush, at the end of the Kiddush. If a woman is going to be making the Seder herself, she'll be making her Kiddush. She does not make a second Shechiyanu because she did so at the lighting of the candle. Normally we make a Shechiyanu at every holiday. We do so for Pesach as well. For the first 2 nights, we say Shechiyanu for the lighting of the candles and for the Kiddush. And what about the last days? The 7th and 8th day, in the Shechiyanu said. Last? Not because the Shechiyanu that was said on the first 2 days covered the entire holiday, including the last. On Sukkos, the last days, we do say Shechiyanu as well. Why is that? It's a different holiday. It's called Shmini Atzeres. And the Torah calls it a different name, Shmini Atzeres. For the Sukkah is 7 days, when we're obligated to sit the Sukkah. The 8th day is one that we're not obligated to sit the Sukkah. It has its own name, so it does its own Shechiyanu.
So the first night we light before sundown, and the second night of the Seder we light after sundown?
We have not after sundown, after nightfall. So that's going to be eight something.
That be 18 minutes? No.
So we cannot do anything on the first day for the second day. Since the lighting of the candle is for the second night, you have to wait until the second night begins.
Okay, so that's upset.
So that would be when it's not sundown, that's still the day before. It would be the actual when the stars come out. Lighting the candles. First day is the first night is 7:02. That's the regular time when you light candles. It's after 8 o'clock.
How do you look at nightfall? Like you don't have that book.
Well, so there's a calendar that says when Shabbos is over, that's nightfall.
Oh.
Usually the calendar will tell you when Shabbos is over, that's the time that's nightfall. So it's after 8. Now, since it's a 3-day holiday, so then we're going to be on Friday, we're going to be lighting the candles like every Friday before sundown. So even though it's the holiday, and that's why we made the Erev Tafshilin, that we can do on Friday what we need for Shabbos. The Erev Tafshilin covers us, because that will also make all the preparation that we need for Shabbos, putting on the blech, and doing other preparations on Friday for Shabbos. Let's see what we have. As far as reclining is concerned, what are the women, what's the custom by the women? They do recline, don't recline, they don't. It's not the, that's not the, right now, the normal man we're eating is we don't sit on these sofas, and stretch out. Well, for the men, they still go back as was done then, but for the women, since it's not the custom now to sit, the nobility doesn't sit that way. The women did not take it upon themselves. Page 73. Number 34, the Yishiyamda. We cover the matzah, and we Yishiyamda, we lift the cup of wine, and we say that Hashem's promise to preserve us is what kept us throughout all generations, and every generation will hold over the every generation they come to destroy us. And Hashem saves us. So this is something that has been going throughout the centuries. That there are all those who want to destroy the Jewish people, as we're going through right now. And Hashem is saving us. The miracles that are taking place now to Israel are phenomenal. Those who are there, they say that it's just all the damage that has been done. Still, the lives that it's really as compared to what could have happened. Really, there were 18,000 buildings that were destroyed.
18,000 buildings destroyed in.
There it's Israel right now.
18,000.
So we find that's a very minimal of any
So what time is that?
It's what
Which was roughly 17,000 more.
I said there 18,000 buildings were destroyed in Eretz Yisrael by the bombing from Iran. So it's not a picnic over here. It's really, I'm saying, what they want to destroy us, and we're saying that we should have that in mind. I'm thankful to Hashem. After we say V'Hishiyamda, we've been lifting the cup to say it, and then we put the cup down and uncover the matzahs and continue. When we have the plagues, we say Yom V'Eish V'Simlas Oshan. We pour from the cup 3 times. In other circles, they would put their pinky into the cup of wine and put that into the basin. But in the Chabad, they don't use the pinky; they just pour from it gently. You don't pour out the whole thing, you just pour each one, you pour a little bit from the cup itself. Those who have their customs, we're not telling anybody to change any of their customs. This is what their custom is. Just continue what you're accustomed to. And but the Chabad, so they pour from the cup itself. Yes.
Yeah, Vishim means to cover.
No. The Hisham does the promise says before we have a passage that Hashem promised to protect us. He and this promise is what kept us and our ancestors. Not only one wanted to do so, in every generation, they come up, right, destroy us. Is the promise that Hashem gave us. But he saved us from their hand. That you'll look in the Haggadah and see that passage.
Thank
you. The Marcos is again we said that Hashem gave Dom V'Eish was Ashan. There was the blood, fire, and a pillar of smoke. Each time we say of these, we pour Dom, we pour a little Eish, was Ashan. Now we have on next page 75. We have we've said the 10 plagues, Dam, Svadeya, blood, and frogs. And each time we pour a little of the wine into a basin. And then we also give the abbreviation of the Tzach, Adash, B'Achav, which are the abbreviation of the 10 plagues. Dam, Dalet is Dam, Tzaddik is Svadeya, and Kaf is the Kinim. So this is August broken vessel. Now the remaining wine is called the Yainam Sameach, wine that causes joy. We then pour it out, we'll add other wine to it. So we have as the caption that says by the Haggadah that what we're pouring out is wrath to evil, whatever is left is blessing. The leader on page number 36, the one who is leading the Seder will hold the second and third matzah when they say matzah zu, this matzah, why do we eat this? And Morer, okay, so they left out. I skipped on went on the other page. Okay, lefichach is we cover the matzahs and saying therefore we lift our cups and we say we thank Hashem until we come to the Hallel. When we come to the Hallel, many Chabad we put down the cup and lift it up again when we say the blessing that we thank Hashem for redeeming us. Then we say the B'Elokei HaGofen, that is the second cup of wine. Then we wash for eating, say the V'Achal Al Tos Yadayim. Motzi said, now we have there's the three matzahs on the table, the one who is making the Seder, or if everyone has their own in front of them. We have there's a broken matzah between the two whole ones. When you say Hamotzi, you hold the top and the bottom and the middle one and the broken one in the middle. You make the Hamotzi. For matzah, we let the bottom matzah drop, and then we say the Halachos matzah. We have a mind that's going to cover the matzah used for the korech, for the sandwich, and for the afikomen. We break off two kazaysim, one kazayis of each matzah, and so those who are actually having the Seder plate in front of them, they're the ones who are going to be eating 2 ounces for the matzah. Everyone else, 1 ounce would be sufficient. We spoke about when you're initially eating, it should be 2 ounces. But that's for the one who was leading the Seder, or if everybody has matzah in front of them, that they're going to be having the 3 matzahs, the 2 whole ones, the matzah in between. So if everyone had their own, then they would eat from the sides from the top and from the middle. If you're just being given supplements, so 1 ounce would be sufficient, because they're going to, I don't know how it is in the different Seders. Most of the Seder, the one who's leading the Seder will break a little of the top matzah and a little of the middle matzah and distribute that. And there's a supplementary matzah that everybody's going to be eating. So that supplementary is with what the ounce is going to be consisting of. The one who's actually leading the Seder, he would eat an ounce of the top one and an ounce of the middle one. Okay, we dip we started the meal by dipping the egg in salt water. Number 3, this is on page 77. The egg is a commemoration of mourning over the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash. When the Beis Hamikdash was attacked, we sacrificed and ate the korban Pesach. Today we do not have it. So this is the now you have covered Sfira Sa'ina, the counting of the Omer was covered in the previous class. Am I correct?
No.
Counting of the Omer?
No.
You didn't. When I asked in the beginning, I asked was the Omer covered, and I was answered yes. Okay. So let me just one thing.
How would you know it was
Okay, so someone said distribute it. So
they
just,
don't know what it is.
so okay, so let's have this yes, let everyone know what it is. Okay. So we have the counting of the Stirasa Omer, the counting of the Omer. On the second day of the second night of Pesach, in the times of the Beis Hamikdash, the second day there was a measure of barley brought on the altar. The Torah tells us the biblical commandment to Sfatu Lachem and Machras HaShabbos. You should count the day after the first day of the holiday. You count 49 days, 7 weeks, and 49 days. So we count the days and the weeks. So women took it upon themselves to join in this mitzvah, even though it is a mitzvah that is bound by time. But women did take upon themselves to count the Omer. Now there are two opinions. If the counting of the Omer is one continuous mitzvah, and therefore if you miss something, then you are no longer able to do the mitzvah. Or is every night a separate unit? So we accept that every night is a separate unit. However, the Baruch is only said if you are continuing to count the Omer. If you forgot to count the Omer at night, it's still counted during the day. And it's still considered that you did not skip a day. Because the daytime you would say without the blessing is only said at night. But if you're counting the daytime, you just count it, and now you consider that you are continuing, and now at night you continue with the blessing the following day. Our custom is to stand when we make the blessing. We say Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, asher b'shamar mitzvah v'tzivan al tzivsa eno blessed you God, King of the universe, that is holy with his commandments, commanded us the counting of the Omer. And then we say immediately following, Hayom Yom Echad HaOmer, today is the first day of the Omer. Now, we have these little boxes right next. It says, Chesed Shebechesed, right next to Hayom Yom Echad HaOmer. Then it says, Chesed Shebechesed. Every day, you have learned in Chassidus about the 7 midos, the 7 attributes of Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, Yisrael, Malchus. Correct? You familiar with that Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes? You can have Chassidus. So we are working during these 7 weeks. We're working on a midah each week. Each week we work on one midah. First week we work with Chesed. So Chesed is a combination of all others. I will have to do this, I guess, when we come back to explain more further. This is our last day that we are having a Pesach class. So we do have the laws we have it in our booklet over here. In this booklet, we have the counting of the Omer, which is on page 42, has the counting of the Omer. So we do continue counting. Even if you skip the day, you count all the other nights, you count without a bracha. If someone is still making a bracha, you can go to someone and ask them when they're making the bracha to have you in mind if you are no longer counting with the bracha. If you're not sure if you counted or not, we could continue with the bracha. And when someone asks you what's the day Sfira after sunset, say what yesterday was such and such, not to say what today is, because once you say today is, then you just count it. You cannot say the bracha. So that is recommended always when someone asks you what day of the Omer is it is, you tell them what was yesterday. So the Omer is counted after the stars come out. And the significance of, so we do have a Yehilat Zayin, who is the master of the universe. And each day, on the last line on the page that I gave you, 341 on the last line, like the blemish that I have caused the Sira of, and you say which Sira it is, the one that's next to the counting of the Omer Chesed Shebechesed is the first night. The next one is going to be Gvura Shebechesed, the next one is going to be Tiferes Shebechesed, the week of the Chesed week. And then we are going to have each night saying which midah, which attribute we're trying to correct. what we're working on. And there was a nice booklet by Rabbi Simon Jacobson, Counting of the Omer, it had a spiral cover. And every day, if anyone has seen it, it's beautiful. It tells you what it actually means in your private life. What do you work on that day? What are you focusing on? What is chesed to the chesed, chesed to the gvura? What is it about? And how do we include it? Okay, so have a wonderful question, please. In the dormitory, I understand this book is available. In this book, you have all the cosmetics and all the medicines that are kosher for Pesach. So make a point of finding out where it is in the dormitory, so you will have access to the information that you need. Okay, I could leave this until 12:30 or so and pick it up on my way home. You have it?
Yeah.
Okay, so look at, you make use of it. Okay.
So we start planning even more in the first, after the second Seder, that night?
Well, in shul it said, but after my, in shul it's always said by my rabbi.
But I mean,
So,
but the second Seder, not.
yes, second Seder night is when we count the water, but. Okay, so, let's see on this. Remember to, if those who have a backpack or something, check it for comments. Also, those who have rings and they use it for comments, wash your rings well. Use it with warm water, pour boiling water on your rings.
Did they get that checklist from anybody?
I have it, and I gave it out.
Okay, good.
So, just going to the medicine chest. If you want to sell it, sell the whole thing. Or the telephone, wipe your telephone, wipe your computers. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
So vitamins, we
You
vitamins.
get vitamins, find out there's close to place of vitamins.
No, but we're not
You
take the whole bunch.
can't do it color, but you can use the color, you can do that vitamin, no problem.
Okay, it's gonna take them on then.
But yeah, but you find out the functional place, huh?
You
So maybe
probably
we have-
checklist, I think I just out there.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay, anyone who wants the checklist, I have additional ones, if anyone wants.
Yep.
Rabbi Baras, you did Seder Timer with them.
We're still, we just started today, I understood to begin with that was done already, and
Okay, Mrs. Nemi said it was done.
But I didn't